What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 133. It is a very, very nice Saturday morning here, holiday weekend in the U.S., and we've got two international guests with us, too, that don't celebrate Thanksgiving, so we're going to skip right over that. But I'm going to... Dan, you didn't change your name. What are you doing?
Yeah, well, wait a minute. Hold on. Like, to hell with you, people in chat.
I haven't gotten to them yet.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. No, you're right. I totally freaking forgot about that. That's terrible of me. Terrible.
Yeah,
I'll change it here in a second. I got you.
I'm watching.
Hey, real quick question. If I unmute my mic manually during the intro, can I like scream something and people would hear it?
I haven't tried it. Let's not do that. Yeah,
let's
not do that.
All right.
Anyway, how you doing, man, Dan?
I'm good. I'm got a turkey going, ready to go, man.
Second Thanksgiving.
We do it twice.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that. All right. And joining us all the way from Germany, a regular here on the Bitcast. Actually, I think between you and Luke, you've probably been on more than anyone else, is Archimedes. You know him as a Boxenberger, and I know our audience knows him well. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing great. It's really been a while. I think 2 months now or so since I've been on the show. So I'm ready to talk.
Nice. Yeah, looking forward to it. And then joining us for the first time, a regular around here, friends of the show over at GameOn Daily. You know him well, I'm sure, as well, is Asa. How are you doing, man? Chilling in the Sea of Thieves bar there, little fire, little beer?
Absolutely. All I've got behind me in real life is a plain green screen. But no, I'm really good. I think, as you know, I like to come in here and chill out for an hour or two before the GameOn Daily show every week. So it's where I pick up my topics from. Like, listen to you and Dan talk.
This could be easy.
Get the good information, take it along, and sound like I'm clever on our show.
Copy and paste the
rehearsal show. Yeah.
Be good.
All right, so now what I'm going to start doing is providing false rumors on this show and see if they show up on your show. In fact, we'll see what happens. So, no, it's good, man. Glad to finally have you on. I know, for everyone who's watching, as always, Game On show is directly after ours. So if you're in that mood for some Saturday gaming chatter, you're stopping by, make sure you catch both of them. So, but thanks for coming, man. Really appreciate it. And so we've got a good show. I see everyone's in chat. What's going on, everyone? So we've got a few things to talk about. I think Archimedes, you've been on plenty of times, but Asa, really quick before we get in, always like to touch on some things. So can you quickly just tell us about Game On first of all? Let's start there, and then we'll kind of just quickly touch on your gaming history as well and what got you into kind of the industry and the love of gaming.
No, not quickly. I can't. But yeah, I'll give it a go. GameOn Daily is, first and foremost, I guess it's a website. But it is our aim and kind of mission statement is to be a real kind of positive force within the gaming community. So bringing together content creators and the people that are looking for their content. And obviously we've got the YouTube channel as well. And we are about 10% of the way through everything we intend to do with that at the moment. So there's a whole load of stuff that it will entail in future. If you haven't already had a look, then please do take a look at the website and take a look at the YouTube channel, because we put quite a lot of effort into it and it is a nice place to go. Me, myself, personally, I guess I would have started gaming back around, I don't want to say, let's pretend I'm really young. Should we go Dreamcast? No, it was Mega Drive.
You don't have to worry with Dan and I on here. You're fine.
The Sega Genesis was probably where I started. So Sonic 2 was the first game that really kind of caught my imagination. It wasn't the first game I ever played. It had an Atari ST as well. But it was Sonic 2 that really got me into it. And then I followed through all of particularly the Sega and the PlayStation consoles. Controversially, never really got into Nintendo too much. But yeah, followed that through to the Dreamcast, onto PC gaming. Now I play everything from those to virtual reality, which I'm a big fan of. So.
Nice. Okay. All right. So Half-Life Alyx, we haven't talked about it much here because neither Dan or I have played it. You played it, I assume?
I have played it. I've not finished it. I've actually got, so I don't know if you're aware, but there's a new HP Reverb headset. So a really nice, visually clear headset that's due to arrive in the next couple of weeks for me. So I'm saving that one up to play. I've done the opening couple of hours and it's a wonderful game.
Okay.
Not necessarily as wonderful as the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, which I also very much enjoyed, but
okay, well, we'll have to talk offline because that's interesting. Not too into VR, but I am fascinated by the tech and kind of the advances. So, I've heard nothing but amazing things about Half-Life. So, pretty cool. All right. Damn, there was something else I was going to ask you. Now I forget. Oh, what's your favorite game of all time? Put you on the spot.
That was a Dan, or was that me?
No, that's you. I'm sorry. So that's you.
I'm sorry. I thought you aimed at Dan, my favorite game of all time. Right.
No, we kind of cover this with new guests all the time.
I was sitting here thinking, Dan's got this on the spot down. You just stay quiet while you think. Yeah.
That's my normal blank stare.
Favorite game of all time? I have no idea. That's like a really obvious question.
You have a series?
The ones that have kind of had the most influence on me in terms of what I play would be Quake 3 Arena and Phantasy Star Online. Nice. I wouldn't necessarily say that either of them are still my favorite game, but they're the ones that were kind of pivotal in my tastes, as it were.
So those are both Dreamcast Online games. Did you play those on
Dreamcast Online games? And I hopped from those over to the PC and really explored the world of online from there.
Okay.
Some obscure games along the way that most people probably haven't heard of. But,
all right.
That's awesome too.
No, that's cool. I was a huge PSO player on Dreamcast and Quake and NFL. And yeah, I mean, I was on Dreamcast Online every day. I just love that revolution. It was like a revolution when it, first happened before Xbox Live was around. So awesome. Well, cool, man. Let's so thanks for joining. Let's go ahead and get into some of these topics. So I want to start with the success of the Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 launches, what we're seeing out of that. And then also, Phil Spencer did a big interview with The Verge this week, talking with Tom Warren, and some of his comments have kind of spread around. So I want to touch on that. So first of all, in case you had any doubt about the growth of the industry, and especially in this year with the pandemic globally, how many more people are gaming, is that both the Xbox between Series X and S and PlayStation developed more consoles, or produced, I guess is a better word, more consoles than they ever had at launch. And both of them broke their prior, brand records for sales out of the gate. So right now, just based on estimates, because, Xbox doesn't share exact numbers and things, but just in the first week, it looks like combined, they've sold over 4 million units. And keep in mind, right, that the delayed launch of the PlayStation 5 across Europe, which we were just talking to Archimedes about, has had an impact there as well. So we're talking about, before the end of 2020, they will have already sold several million units, and demand is still far outstripping supply, right? There's still a lot of people who want these consoles who can't get them. So the first thing I just wanted to hear from, and Archimedes, feel free to rant a little bit about your PlayStation 5 or lack of experience so far. But, do you guys have any comments on just these kind of sales, or anything to do with, the demand of these consoles? Do you think this was fully expected by these companies? Or do you think even with demand being so high, this is still higher than, they would have figured it would have been? So Archimedes, I'll start with you, man.
Yeah, well, I think that they expected this kind of demand. They have seen the growth of the industry over the last years. They have seen how many gamers wanted to get gaming systems during lockdown and so on. So I think gaming has been bigger than ever before, and I do think that they expected it. What I didn't plan for is the whole logistics around the globe with COVID now. That's definitely something that they didn't plan for, but I think the demand is not surprising. And it's been the same with every console launch. I remember that the PlayStation 4, it also launched in November back in 2013, and it wasn't available in regular stores until April or May the next year. So wow. Okay. I would be surprised if that's any different this time around. But I'm happy that console gaming is still this relevant, because like for 15 years now or so, we hear console gaming is dead. And it's obviously not the case, and that makes me really happy. And it's been a fun time seeing all these gamers on social media enjoying their new consoles. Nothing surprising for me, but I'm glad that they are both successful. That's what the industry needs.
Yeah, for those who missed it, I completely agree. And for those who missed it, we were talking prior. So Archimedes, you pre-ordered a PlayStation 5 from one of the biggest outlets in Germany, paid for it in full, you said.
Yeah.
And yet here we are, November 19th. So you're 9 days post-launch, and you still don't have a delivery date or the PS5.
Yeah, it's really, it gets to my nerves right now because I pre-ordered back in September when the pre-order started, and they gave it's called MediaMarkt. I mean, everyone in Europe knows MediaMarkt. They have stores all across Europe, basically in every major city, thousands of stores. It's not a small retailer. I always say it's basically the Best Buy of Europe. Yeah, and they make you pay full price up front within 3 days. So I did that, of course, and now I'm still waiting for my console. But the thing is, it's happened to thousands of customers. There's really a shitstorm going on here across Europe. And there is the Customer Protection Agency in Germany that they are already investigating a lawsuit because it's actually illegal to charge you up front and then not deliver the product. But the worst thing for me is how they handle that whole situation, because when you call customer support, they hang up on you with the words, "We don't answer any questions regarding the PlayStation 5. Click."
Wow.
And so it's been the last time that they will see any money from my side, obviously. But yeah, that's a little drawback, but that's not on Sony in this case. Or Microsoft. I've seen something similar happen to some people who pre-ordered the Xbox. That's just greedy retailers that sold more units than were available, and that's really a shame because this really takes away a lot of the excitement that you have for the new systems. But other than that, I'm not canceling that pre-order because, like I said, I remember all too well the situation in 2013 and 14. I still hope that I will get my console eventually, but if I cancel the pre-order, I won't get one before April or May next year. That's just the reality of it, especially for the PlayStation, since the PlayStation is so much more successful here in Europe than the Xbox. In Germany, it regularly outsells the Xbox 5-1, 6-1, and so somewhere in that ballpark. And so it'll be really tough to get a PlayStation around here in the next couple of months.
Man, yeah, that's brutal. I mean, over here, Amazon is kind of in that boat. They sold just way too many, and there's people still waiting on their Series X's and PlayStation 5s. But in the US, it's just gonna happen. You'll just wait. There's no consumer protection group that's got a lawsuit and will be taking care of that for you. But yeah, that's a shame, man. So I hope you get it sooner rather than later. Let me get to some of these super chats real quick. So Mo, sure. You're always here, man. I hope you have a great show, boys. Ace's background making me feel all warm and fuzzy. It's doing the same for me, honestly. I love it.
There's nothing for me. That's not a real fire.
I'm gonna have to make it the Bitcast full background behind us, where we're just sitting in front of the fireplace every week. Gaz follows up. What's up, Gaz? Mo making me feel naughty. Oh man, you guys are off and running already. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it, mate. And Darge, I haven't seen Darge in a while. Happy Saturday, people. Great panel for the show. Double helpings of Asa for me today. Oh.
Now we're talking.
Darge, appreciate it, man. Good to see you. Wait, Gaz. Oh, I thought this was the same super chat, Gaz. You can put it all to one, man. Love the show and panel. Hi, Asa. I'm using company funds for the super chat. By the way, we've run out of cash. Dan does the same with our SJ funds, man. Every time, the shows are running, I just see super chats, and he does the same thing. So. Thank you guys very much. Greatly appreciate it. So, guys, any thoughts on, do you have let's start there. Do you have a Series X and PS5? Do you have neither? Where are you at on those? And what are your thoughts so far of what you've seen with this launch? I said Gaz.
Gaz. I'm wondering
sorry.
What's going on?
That's all good. Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah. I was up late. Apologies.
So I've got the three of them. So the PlayStation 5 digital edition, I've got the Series X, and I've got the Series S. The Series S is partly a Christmas present for the kids, but partly I've been using it for some testing. But there we go.
It still works. Yeah, it still works.
It still works. I've had so little time to actually use them. I've been putting together for the last week or so a video, and all I've been playing is Marvel's Avengers, because that's the subject of the video. So I on the PlayStation 5, I have played through Astro's Playroom and got a sense of the controller that everyone's talking about. On the Series X, I played a bit, again, mostly backward compatible stuff. I played a bit of Dirt 5. We had our interview with David Springer
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, so I played a bunch of Dirt 5 to make sure I was keeping up with what was going on there, and that's a good game as well. And yeah, some backwards compatible Attack on Titan, but apart from that, I don't feel like I've got the big talking points, the Spider-Mans, the Demon Souls. I know you've been playing a bit of Demon Souls on Twitch.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's all still there for me in the next week or so.
Okay, yeah, trying to get through some work, it sounds like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, Dan, I know we've touched on this before, so I'll move right into the comments or the comment I wanted to touch on, which I think is going to be covered by a lot of shows and sites. It was, but Phil Spencer did this interview with The Verge and Tom Warren, like I said, and as always, Phil is he's a very well-spoken man. I love his thoughts on the industry and how he kind of approaches the industry. I've always appreciated that. And, in no short words, really here, he called out those who really are, for lack of a better word, toxic, or who really kind of stoke the fires of this mythical imaginary war between these platforms. And his actual quote was, he was kind of talking about this tribalism within the industry and people who focus on one platform and really put down the other. And he said, there's a core that just really hates the other consumer product. Man, that's just so off-putting to me. To me, it's one of the worst things about our industry. Now, it goes without saying, if you're watching this show and you follow Season Gaming, you know we've spoken about this many, many, many times. But I love hearing Phil say this, because the sad fact of the matter is, whether it's Xbox or PlayStation or even Nintendo, right, you do have these core groups that act like that. And I think the most bizarre thing for me, and I'll hear your guys' thoughts on it, but the most bizarre thing for me is that there's so many people out there on the Xbox side, if you want to call a side, who do this stuff on a daily basis and start, stuff. They act as the worst of the people who act as neutrals, but really aren't. And they do all this stuff, and yet they'll quote Phil Spencer all the time and completely ignore this comment of his, right? And then just continue doing it. So that just drives me crazy. But in my opinion, it was great to hear Phil say this. I think we need to hear more from leaders in the industry on this, just to shut it down. So, Dan, any comments on this?
Yeah, to build off of your, this is going to probably piss people off, but maybe don't let your VPs onto certain shows that have either promoted that kind of tribalism or have used that tribalism to get where they are and now are neutral. Sorry. You know what? Hate me, Xbox guys. I really don't give a shit. That blows my mind. To be fair, Phil, I've always liked Phil. He's a nice guy, knows his shit, always super friendly to people on Twitter. But I mean, it's kind of pot calling the kettle black, right? I mean, that's you can't come out against this shit and then also allow your employees to jump on certain podcasts to, that maybe not now, but have in the past promoted this kind of stuff. And, it just drives me crazy. It's just,
there's a level of hypocrisy there.
But to his actual point, he's 100% right. We deal with it all the damn time. Drives me crazy. That's why I don't follow anybody anymore. And it's not even, like I said before, it's not because that person is necessarily a bad person. It's because, they say things that are going to get a reaction from the other side. They say things that, they know what they're doing. That's how you get your clicks. They know that kind of stuff. So that's going to immediately make all the idiots jump on there and complain about it. And that's what you're bringing. So I just, you got to cut the head, the head off, it's just, no, I'm done. I'm done with this kind of.
We're not on the grinding gear section, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But this is a very solid place to give my,
just getting warmed up.
My fiery take. Sorry, Phil, I love you, but that's where it needs to start. Set an example. If you're going to come out and say this kind of stuff, don't allow that kind of shit to happen anymore. Because I understand it's very community friendly and it's awesome. And I wish Sony would do it more to, maybe podcasts that aren't so one-sided or cause so many issues. I mean, it's the same names we see over and over and over again. You know, so
I think Fastback has a point.
Yes, I will beat the shit out of them if I ever see them. Like, that's
all right.
Here's
Calm
my
down.
superpower. I just wanted to
calm down,
smack people, like just walk. That's what I want to do. Just be able to. What is wrong with you, idiots?
Let's get back to Matt's point here.
All right, yeah, but yeah, cool. Phil, you're awesome. How about that?
Oh my God, there's so many comments. Yeah, as Mo said, PS5 is crashing and burning everywhere. They're broken. They're all broken. So Archimedes, let me hear your thoughts on this.
Any fans.
No,
my bad.
We don't hold back. So let's hear your thoughts on this. I mean, you know, I don't think there's a whole lot to dive into here. Everyone talks about this pretty frequently, but you know, any open thoughts on Phil's interview or the comments here?
No, I'm right there with Dan. I mean, it's good to hear that he feels similar than we do. I mean, these fanboy wars are the things that really take away the fun of gaming. I mean, we are all active in the gaming community because we love games and we enjoy them and we like to talk about them. And whenever you do that, someone tries to just rob you of your fun and your experience, and it's just so stupid. Yeah. There's nothing more to say than that. Like Dan said, I'm regularly trying to smack someone over their head because it's just
we need some kind of USB thing that just like reaches out over the internet.
Yeah,
or shocks them every time they touch their keyboard. You get a shock.
Stop it.
Yeah.
As my brother Sarko says, violence at rare times is an answer.
I love Sarko.
Sarko's great. What was I going to say? Where was it? I'm missing comments here. Persian Night, welcome, man. My wife asked me if she needs to wear a pop collar like the PS5 to get my attention. Oh, great.
I mean, the only thing is, it's not just the fanboys on Twitter or any social media channels. To be frank, it's sometimes sad for me to see that the big media outlets are also really harping on that console wars stupidity. It's really the reason why I'm so happy that sites like Seasons Gaming exist that have some integrity. Because this is really not just the thing from some stupid fanboy on social media. It's because too many big media outlets also dive into that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was actually, we've talked about it before. I won't harp on it, but it's part of the reason I founded Season Gaming. It's just you get exhausted seeing it every day. So anyway, Asa, thoughts, man. And, you know, we started with talking about GameOn and, you know, founding it here a short while ago with a focus on positivity and sharing content creations from positive people. Seems to go exactly in line with what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been exactly my position. And it's quite, it can be quite difficult not to get pulled into that kind of dialogue every now and again.
Yeah.
It's not just gaming though. You get it in every hobby,
Sure.
everything that people are enthusiastic about. People are, I don't know, passion just overflows into this kind of weird aggression, and I don't get it. I never particularly felt that way myself. You see it everywhere. Phil has, and I don't say this as a negative, but he has a silver tongue. So Phil will always say the right thing to the right people, whoever his audience is. He will pick the right words, and that's not to say that he's a liar. He's just very clever with the words that he picks. He's the opposite of a liar. What he says is true. It's just very selective.
Correct.
And I think Dan is very right that the messaging that he's giving there isn't necessarily filtering down through his team. Some people in his team though have been at Xbox since long before this was the philosophy, that are still wanting to get right there in the trenches and have a little fight. So I don't know. It's quite interesting to watch in that sense.
Yeah, I think to Dan's point, it is right. I think there's a very fine line, I think, between, we've talked many times around Xbox's leadership doing a very good job of being kind of involved and communicating with their fans and, you know, giving back to their community. They do a very, very good job of that, way better than I think PlayStation or Nintendo do, who are really more corporate, kind of just silent, right? But there is a fine line between interacting with your fans and getting involved with some of the things Dan was speaking to. And I think, to Dan's point, some of the executives, we're not naming names or shows or anyone else, but that line has gotten crossed at times, and it's a shame to see.
Yeah, come on our show, guys. We'll just sit down and talk about real stuff. We don't have the we're not gonna sell you 15 million Game Pass subscriptions here, but you know what? You'll have a good time.
and you won't feel dirty after you're done the show.
Right. Like when I see some of these guys come on, and I'm not gonna go crazy here. I'm gonna shout out like ILP when Jason Ronald was on.
Yes,
that is the perfect example of what you should be doing.
Yeah,
you've got an amazing show with 4 amazing guys that are always positive, and getting him on is awesome to watch. Because they genuinely love that industry and love getting into those details. So I love seeing that kind of stuff. But then you see other stuff, and it's just like, come on now, that's just clicky stuff. That's all you want that for the numbers. So
yeah, exactly. So
drives me crazy.
Archimedes, he said his Wi-Fi just crashed, so we'll just continue on for now. And he said he'll be back as soon as he can. So I wanted to touch on, and I saw your comment prior on Twitter, Asa, about this, but I wanted to touch. We'll move over to Call of Duty. So, and the reason I wanted to touch on Call of Duty this week is kind of twofold. Is one, our review went up of the campaign from Phasma, as you may know her on Twitter. And long story short, it is so broken right now on Series X and PlayStation 5 in particular. I think it's all platforms, but it seems to be worse on. Hey, Archimedes, you back?
Hey, yeah. Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi was gone. So
no worries. Just setting up the Call of Duty conversation. So
I got promoted.
Now you're the guy on the right. You're back with the guy on the right. So what I was saying, Archimedes, is Call of Duty, Cold War. Our review went up from Phasma. She could not finish the campaign because there's a mission that as soon as you start a certain segment, it crashes the console. Sometimes it crashes to home. Sometimes it does literally a hard shutdown. This is not unique to her. If you do a quick search, this is happening all across consoles. And like I said, in particular, Series X, Series S, and PS5. And so first, I wanted to talk about how we can the problems with Call of Duty's approach to development. And I get the irony here, right? I'm calling out one of the most successful IPs, if not the most successful annual IP in the industry. So trust me, that's not lost on me. But when you release a game this big and this popular, and there's literally people that are now a couple weeks after release still can't even finish your game because it's so broken. That, first of all, that's ridiculous. That needs to be, called out. Second is I wanted to lead into a conversation of the annualized Call of Duty model and why I believe that needs to change. Now it's Activision. They make billions of dollars. It's probably not going to change, but I'd like to talk about it anyway because of what we heard out of Halo Infinite, right? Which is with Halo Infinite, they are going to that place where they're separating multiplayer and campaign. Multiplayer is going to be free to play. And then the people who want to experience the campaign can do that through Game Pass or buy it, of course. And so what I wanted to ask you guys' thoughts on is, to me, it makes more sense, especially knowing that the majority of the money made on Call of Duty is made from, or in Activision's case, is microtransactions, right? Would it make sense to see Call of Duty move to a model like they've done with Warzone, right, which is free to play, where all of the Call of Duty multiplayer goes free to play, and they do seasonal content like we see out of all these other games, right? Fortnite and Apex and all these games, and make their money that way. And then annually, they take the resources from their 3 development studios, combine that into an annual Call of Duty campaign that you can just add on when it releases every year to your multiplayer client, right? Or your software, for a smaller fee, $20, $30, whatever it may be. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on that, because I think that's where the industry is going. We've already seen it in a lot of cases across IPs. And with companies, it's always going to be about money. But I honestly think if they went that route, I don't think they lose money in the long term. So let me hear your thoughts on that, guys. Ace, I'll start with you.
It's Activision. I'm sure there is a bunch of people sitting there with spreadsheets at the moment, figuring out if they can do all of these things at once to absolutely optimize the amount of money that they can make, and then phoning Sony to see if they want to buy some of it exclusively as well.
Yes.
I mean, like I did say on Twitter, I don't really play the Call of Duty games. I played, I think the last one I actually played properly was Call of Duty 2, which was an Xbox 360 launch game.
It's a great game.
It was a good game. For some reason, it didn't hook me on the series because I didn't play any of them after that. For some reason, I end up owning them all. I don't know how. I always look at them and the Call of Duty. Don't like their business practices. I don't like the price of that game. This is not good value for me. And I never buy it at launch, but somehow it just ends up in my collection somewhere. So I got a bunch of them, and it's not. That's not to say that they're bad games. I think there's probably some good content in there, particularly the campaigns and things, and the multiplayer are obviously popular for a reason, but they're not particularly for me. I will say, in their defense, so the latest one, the Black Ops Cold War, having all of these bugs and issues, I'm loath to say it about Activision, but I say it about everybody else, it's been a really, really difficult task to get anything out for the launch of these consoles.
Yeah.
So I try and cut people a little bit of slack. So you see these problems with Dirt 5, you see these optimization issues across the Ubisoft games. But then you look at Microsoft and they haven't really managed to put any games out. So for these third parties to be actually getting games out at launch across multiple platforms, okay, in Activision's case, it's probably because somebody was literally whipping their backs. But the fact that they've delivered something is worthy of some applause, some approval there, because that's a difficult task right now. As evidenced by the fact that I don't think anybody's really done a particularly good job putting out a quality multiplayer platform game. So I think, I'm sure if they can make more money from it, it will change.
And so if anyone listening is not too familiar with how Activision manages Call of Duty, right? So they have 3 studios. They have Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer. And the traditional model is they each get 3 years to develop each title, and they're on a constant rotation, right? What we saw this year was that this was supposed to be Sledgehammer's year. We've talked about this before. For whatever reason, early in the year, we heard that Sledgehammer's game was scrapped. And Treyarch was pulled in early to basically produce Cold War for this year. And Sledgehammer's resources were pulled over to help that. Now, that could probably help explain some of the issues we're seeing at launch, right? Is because for a game of that size and scale, and you're moving, taking a year less development time away and trying to rush everything with extra resources, that's just a disaster waiting to happen. So I'm surprised that it's even as functional as it is, to be honest with you. Because
really, I would counter that argument. I mean, it's basically a DLC that they sell us every year. So they should have the tech up and running and just put another skin on that.
And that's kind of where I'm going, right? It seems kind of ridiculous in today's age to have this 3-year development cycle where every year you're releasing an independent multiplayer campaign and extra modes, whether it's Spec Ops or Zombies or whatever, right? Yeah. Why would you not take these combined resources, which has to be, if I had to guess, at least 12 to 1,800 people of developers between these 3 studios? Why would you not have, just put 800 of them on a constant multiplayer thing like Fortnite, like Apex, like all these other studios are doing, like you've already done with Warzone? It's what they've already done. Why would you not do that and then separate another campaign team to produce a campaign every year and just separate them? It just seems to make a lot more sense developmentally, in my opinion.
Yeah, you probably would save a lot of development resources.
And that goes into the ROI discussion, right? You're probably more efficient. So even if you make 10% less, I'm throwing numbers out here, 10% less on your annual revenue, you're okay, right? You're making the same money, but you're more efficient at what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. But then on the other hand, just from a business perspective, I like your idea, but from the business side, they more or less have that ongoing game already that is making them a ton of money with Warzone. And they can have that annual new game. So they just dip in both areas. What I would really love them to do is to sell the campaigns as standalones.
Yeah.
I mean, they did that with the World War II remake this year. Was fantastic because I'm not a big Call of Duty multiplayer guy. But I really enjoy the campaigns. I'm here with Asa. I have a lot of them in my collection, but I never buy them at launch, because for that 5 to 6, 7 hour campaign, I just don't want to pay full price. And usually I pick them up a year or two after launch in a sale for 20 or 30 bucks or something, and then play the campaigns. If they would sell me the campaign as a standalone for, I'm throwing a number out here, 40 bucks, I probably would buy them at launch. That is actually the model I would prefer them, and then have the ultimate super duper deluxe edition with the multiplayer for whatever price. That would be my thing. The thing about this annual annual releases of Call of Duty, I've never seen a franchise that can do it this reliably. Even the sports games, they have all their ups and downs. Every other year, one of the FIFA games is really not doing well for some reason. I don't know. But Call of Duty, they have been on that constant growth rate. They had, with, for instance, Call of Duty Ghosts, they had their down, but the game still sold well. It wasn't well received, but it still sold well. So unless something is changing on that side, that is not going to change. And this year, like Asa said, it's been tough for a lot of developers, and we have to give credit to all of those who actually shipped the game. But then, on the other hand, it's ruining a lot of the excitement and fun of the experience if you have a buggy mess like Call of Duty is right now. Because, like you said, it's not just a campaign. I'm seeing regularly posts on my timeline about consoles crashing on both sides, PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series consoles. The game is just a mess, and if it goes that far, would it be so bad to move the game 2 or 3 months? Just delay it. But then it's Activision. If they move it for 3 months, it's always the next. Already the next game is in the pipeline. So
they're very, that timeline is set, and their investors bank on it as well.
I'm glad Archimedes mentioned FIFA in that talk then, because these are games that have such a reach as well into a kind of different tier of gamer, a more casual tier of gamer that just buy their FIFA and their Call of Duty every year. And they're going to be looking for that November release for Call of Duty. It's just in their calendar alongside Christmas or whatever. I don't know. So again, it comes down to their spreadsheets. I'm sure they know that audience, and they know how much they'd lose if they were to disrupt that release window or change anything about it. But
good talk, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. It's not, it's not like it's changing drastically every year after year, even the multiplayer, So there's really no point. I'd love to see like that, like Archimedes said, with that separate campaign. Just if I'm going to pay and make it $25. I mean, you're not going to make. That's not where they make their money, like you said. It's all in these microtransactions and battle passes and DLC. That's where they're raking it in. So I have a tendency to just buy it for the campaign because that's usually all I play, but I actually skipped it this year, which is a miracle. So,
it sounds like you're lucky, maybe, based on what we're hearing.
I mean, it really does. I mean, the campaign looks pretty cool if it worked, so I don't feel bad for Activision. I feel bad for everybody playing, that are running into these issues. It shouldn't be this way, but I also, to you guys' point, the pandemic has, thrown a monkey wrench into everything. But you look at what, Halo getting delayed, but that looks like what they're doing, right? They're going to be, it looks like it's going to be that Halo game, but then they build on that with the multiplayer.
Correct. Well, in fact, they're taking it even a step further. What we're hearing is the reason it's Halo Infinite is that the client, even the campaign client, is going to have stories added to it over time.
Yeah. That's a smart way to do it.
Releases.
That's what they said.
It's an excellent choice. I mean, it's like you said, given the how you see the industry progressing, now, given that we're in this, struggle, in society, that this is a good way to basically get as much as you can from it, and you can make improvements, incremental improvements as you go along. It just makes sense. That's the way I would do it. I would look over there, see what they're doing. If in fact, that's what Halo Infinite is going to be, then that seems like the best way to go. I think it's going to be a humongous moneymaker for Microsoft, and Activision, could take some notes for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think where we kind of slid into there is almost the conversation of the $60 release in general, right? Or $70 release, or even more where you guys are.
Oh yeah. 80 euros. It's $93 US.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Dan touched a little bit on this whole free-to-play model. Is basically where the shooter genre is heading right now. The biggest shooters out there are free to play. Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play. And then we see it with all these battle royale games and everything. A lot of the biggest shooters right now are free to play.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird to me that Call of Duty can afford it actually to not go in that direction.
Well, and they've made so much money with Warzone, to Dan's point too,
exactly.
right? I mean, Warzone is a perfect example of being free to play, crossing I think 60 million players. And Activision, as we know, they came out and said they made 1.2 billion in a quarter, or that might have been EA. I know that it's something like that, but upwards of 5 to 6 billion a year just on microtransactions. So it's all about getting more people into the game. And despite Call of Duty, as we've already said, being a sales leader, and Asa made a great point about it being that kind of calendared annual release. I mean, I have friends who aren't big gamers, but when November comes or October comes, it's like, all right, grabbing the new Call of Duty. It's an expectation at this point. But I don't see any reason why you can't do the multiplayer like we're talking about and have that campaign release and multiplayer update every October or November, right? Here's the new campaign. It coincides with the new season, whatever that is, a 3-month season or whatever in multiplayer, which you can also buy the season pass for, right? So season pass, $10-15, campaign, $30. Do you know what I mean? Just split it up. You're still making the money.
When you talk about the way they monetize them at the moment as well, one of the biggest free-to-play shooters is introducing a subscription next month.
Yep.
With Fortnite.
Exactly.
So I think it's stuff they can explore. But
yeah, and I think that's what we're seeing happen in real time. And by real time, it's not instant, right? It's over the course of years. But we've seen drastic changes in the way games are monetized in general over the past several years, with games like Fortnite kind of leading that charge in a way to things. If you think a decade ago, when we heard about $15 a month to play like World of Warcraft, we were like, they're crazy. Even though there were plenty of millions of people doing it, a lot of people were like, no one's going to, a big market's not going to pay $15 a month to play a game. Well, they do now,
I remember so well the discussion when Oblivion came out with the first microtransactions.
The horse armor?
Yeah, the horse armor. For the love of God, I wasn't able to imagine that anybody would spend a single cent on something like that. Yeah,
me too. I used to argue with people. I'd be like, why would you pay money for a fake product? A digital product.
Oh, I made the horse look way better. And I didn't buy it. I did not buy that.
But it's funny to look back on. Just just yesterday, I just joked about playing Destiny. I just bought the season pass. It's $10. It's $9 if you're a Game Pass member. And so I was like, it's just worth it. And you're not really getting anything. You're just getting progression in a game. So it's funny. But no, good thoughts, good conversation. I think that conversation can obviously go well beyond Call of Duty. But I don't know. I'm kind of putting the flag down here and now that I do believe we're going to see a change in the way Call of Duty is annualized in the next couple of years. So we'll see. All right. One note I had here, which is funny as we were talking about this because it was good timing, is that Red Dead Online, or Red Dead and Rockstar, right? So we know that Grand Theft Auto Online is an absolute, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. It's absurd how much money that game makes and continues to be played, right? Red Dead is on a much smaller scale, but its online does have a dedicated community. And as of December 1st, so just next week, or this week, the multiplayer is going standalone. So you'll actually be able to play Red Dead Online for $4.99. You can buy into it for a limited time. It then moves to $20. But once you have the online client, you can then pay extra to get the campaign added on. So Rockstar is already going this way. And you know as well as I do that when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, whenever that is, there's no way in hell they lose that online base they already have. They're not going to start over, right? So it won't surprise me to see something similar with Grand Theft Auto, which when that game releases, that'll change the rest of the industry. That, you know, if you got those millions and millions and millions of players with Grand Theft Auto Online, now you can just play Grand Theft Auto 6 for $30, 40, whatever the hell it is, you know? So
Man,
I think
you think that they'll give it to you at half price?
no, what I'm saying is I think in Grand Theft Auto's case, they'll still sell a retail full edition, etc., but they're still going to have a focus on the online portion, right? Like they do that now. You can buy a version of Grand Theft Auto 5 where you get bonus money and shark funds or whatever the hell they call it for Grand Theft Auto Online. I think they're going to push that direction. But the fact that they're already separating Red Dead Online out as a standalone purchasable product, I think you're going to start to see from these games. And we know Cyberpunk's multiplayer is coming separate too.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can. There's so many successful models out there to choose from. Yeah. You know, I mean, and they all in some way revolve around, you know, an online component that, you know, has these microtransactions,
continued engagement.
Right, that's the key. You know, you can do it in several different ways. You know, Activision just chooses to be it's an extra little bit of greed that makes them want to do it every freaking year. You know. But when, you know, like, we're okay with that, you know, $100 million or whatever it is, I'm not worried about that because this will translate over. You know, everybody else can see it, you know, but Kotick is up there, you know, hey, I need another golden Benz.
God,
you know,
talk about one of the worst executives in the industry. God, I hate that guy. Terrible.
Can you imagine that one of those teams making the latest Activision game goes in and they're like, oh, should we do a subscription? Should we do microtransactions? Should we sell it? Should we develop expansions? Yeah, we should.
all of that.
Yes. And then add a subscription to your annualized model as well. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Carl, what's up, man? Subscription to individual franchises is the future, especially enabled by streaming, so they can literally cut out the middleman like Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. Exactly right. And that's kind of what we've seen with when I said Fortnite is pushing the bar, right? Because you can do that through your Epic account directly now, right? And play on any device. And so that's definitely a future of where that debate is coming. And we saw part of that with Game Pass and Apple, right? But as we kind of said back then, there's trillions of dollars in the long term, right? You're talking billions and billions every year that has to be cut up and everyone wants their piece.
So. Which is why the Apple against Epic lawsuit is so interesting.
Exactly right. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I think we've covered that topic enough for now. I wanted to talk a little bit around what we're seeing out of next gen. It continues to be a pretty big topic, and what I mean by that is, you know, we're seeing a wide range outside of Call of Duty and the issues it's having. We're seeing a wide range of performance variations between versions of games, which, you know, if you've been paying attention, right, you should have expected when you've got developers, the COVID situation, new hardware, cross-gen stuff. There's just a lot going on for developers right now. So this week alone, I just wrote a few examples here. So we have the Call of Duty crashing. Watch Dogs got another update, but still has not fixed the save issue that many people are seeing on the Series X, which is kind of scary because I have 40 plus hours in that game. So I'm actually refusing to play it again until they update it. Dirt 5, who Asa, you know, you guys talked to the creative director or technical director. And I know this has been a big thing for him too on social media lately, is because, you know, there was an update that was missed apparently on the series, both the Series S and X version, I believe, which was hindering performance. And we've also now, the biggest one maybe this week, and Digital Foundry kind of talked about this too, is Valhalla, Assassin's Creed. You know, we saw some issues with screen tearing and all these other things that Ubisoft is trying to fix. So there's just an awful lot of change here. And I think what I wanted to touch on is Xbox's statement around this. They actually published just hit a wrong button. Sorry. They actually published an actual statement around the performance here, because as we know, Xbox has been on that power game, right? They're the ones who have been saying we have the most powerful console. This is the best place to play, etc. And so what they said was, we are aware of performance issues in a handful of optimized titles on Xbox Series X and S, and are actively working with our partners to identify and resolve them to ensure optimal experience. It's a PR statement. As we begin a new console generation, our partners are just now scratching the surface of what next-gen consoles can do, and minor bug fixes are expected as they learn how to take advantage of the new platforms. We're eager to continue working with developers on the capability of the Xbox Series X and S in the future. So really standardized PR statement there, but wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on this exact topic, right? The performance of these consoles, what your thoughts are around what we're going to see in the long term. And Asa, especially after speaking to a technical director like this, of a guy who's facing these issues and has worked on this hardware directly, any further insight that he might have provided in this regard.
Yeah, so that was actually, I don't know if you got to see much of that interview. It was actually really interesting. And the technical director was very, very open, but still couldn't say that much about what's going on with the PlayStation 5. So Microsoft have been really transparent about what's in the Xbox and what it's going to do. Obviously, they've beaten their own drum a little too hard in the run-up to launch. Caused themselves some trouble on that one. But all that they're saying is being compared against like a blank slate. You don't know what's going on with Sony. You've got these few benchmarks and things, the few specs that Mark Cerny did talk about.
Yep.
But way less information, and people are just making assumptions about what's going on over there. And it's interesting, we were talking earlier about Phil saying that he doesn't like the people that engage in these fanboy wars and whatever.
Yep.
And Dan was saying like some of Microsoft executives maybe should take that advice as well, that cause some of this trouble for themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
They've been right in on this narrative that we're going to smash everything with power. And yeah, the launch has definitely played out. What's really weird is it's played out as an exact mirror of what you might have anticipated. So it's not just that the PlayStation is winning in the areas that you wouldn't expect it to. The one area where you thought the PlayStation had the advantage was the hard drive, and that's the one area that it's not winning, which is just a curious thing. But yeah, I mean, I think long term, I think it's a little disingenuous to say that the Sony PlayStation platform tools are so much easier to work with, so much further ahead than Microsoft's, when actually Microsoft should have the advantage in this, because these full RDNA tools that they like to talk about, all the features of DirectX 12 Ultimate, have been kicking around in the PC space for a couple of years. So they've been on the NVIDIA cards. So Microsoft have had a 2-year advantage in getting these APIs working. Different hardware, which obviously matters to an extent, but it's an advantage over Sony. They've had ray tracing for 2 years. Sony's ray tracing debut was a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So it's an odd one. I'm going to go back to the position that I've said for a long, long time, that the chip in the Xbox console is bigger and more expensive, and that will play out over time. So once all these teething issues are out of the way, I think the difference, people like to say that teraflops don't matter. To a degree, teraflops don't matter. They've been overly used over past years as a metric, but when you have like-for-like architectures, as the PlayStation and the Xbox are, they are indicative. You can dismiss them too hard. Like, they don't matter entirely. They don't tell the whole story, but they are relevant, and those metrics are going to play out, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've heard that from a few creators, but it's funny you mentioned that, because Carl, who just super chatted briefly, he writes for our site, and he definitely dives into these technical deals. In fact, he has a great article up on the site, to go ahead and plug it, around some of the GPU, CPU, and drive, stats and things from both consoles, and why, to exactly what you just said, is that the teraflop number, to your exact point, was driven too hard. It's not that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter directly as much as people think it does. And so there's, as with everything we always talk about, there's nuance to understand there, right? It's not as simple as just throwing a number out there and saying, yep, this is better. That's not how tech works. That's not how hardly anything works. But to your point, and we've heard this from the developers too, as time goes on and tools mature, knowledge matures more than anything. And they have the right time a lot of this just comes down to development time. They have the necessary time and resources. We probably will see, the Xbox begin to stretch its legs a little bit. But Archimedes, where are you at on this, man?
Okay, I think the Xbox fans won't like my thoughts on that. But the thing is,
let's go. I want to hear.
We're getting them today.
Earlier we spoke about smacking someone over the head, and sometimes I would just want to smack Microsoft over the head here, because they have actually done something really stupid with that that whole thing. I get, okay, maybe the tools were not ready. I get developers didn't have the time and so on.
Yeah.
But if your biggest narrative is power, the best version of the games are on the Xbox and everything, and now it turns out they aren't, that's just bad marketing. And the thing is, this narrative won't go away, even if in a year or so the Digital Foundry comparisons will show something different. The story will still be that the PlayStation can outperform the Xbox. And like we said earlier, stupid fanboy wars, but it was kind of one of their promises. If you invest in our Xbox, you get the best versions of the games. And now you don't. Could be in a year or so that this story will change, no doubt, but it isn't at the moment. And the problem for me is that Microsoft is relying a little bit too much on promises that what might come in the future. Power will come in the future. The best games, the best versions of the games will come in the future. First-party content will come in the future. And in the reality, in the here and now, we have nothing. We don't have first-party content. We don't have the best versions of the games. We have, whenever in the history of gaming, did we as gamers have to think about when a developer gets a tool or not? It's really the thing for me. I, as a gamer, do not want to worry about when a developer gets a tool or something. If they advertise the best version of a game, I want that version. If I invest in that ecosystem. They promised me with 23 studios that the first-party games are coming, and I don't have one single first-party game except Gears Tactics right now. I get COVID has changed a lot and made a lot of things much more difficult, but other developers were able to ship games. They were able to ship the tools to developers and so on. So yeah, I'm not happy with that, how it goes. I think also the silence from Microsoft is not good at the moment. They really should come out and address it a little bit more openly, because all that thing about the tools were shipped early and so on is all stuff that we hear from people or influencers all over YouTube that know someone in the industry. It's not an official statement. It's someone knows someone. And I just don't think that this is good marketing. The thing about this whole narrative is, it won't go away, even if the Digital Foundry analysis change. And the first-party content, we all know the games will come eventually, but it really tells you something that they haven't shown one single game that we can look forward to. It's really, really something Microsoft should consider right now, instead of staying silent.
Yeah, you feel better?
Get him
a little.
No, that's good. It's all fair points, 100%. And I think you just kind of doubled down on what exactly Asa said, is when your marketing is primarily up in front of everything else is the power narrative, and it's the best place to play in terms of you're going to get the best version. When people invest in that, and there's people like us who buy everything, and we're in the weeds a lot more than most people, right? But to your point, Archimedes, to an average consumer who sees this as the most powerful console and the best place to play your games, like Call of Duty, like Valhalla, those big third-party games that are the ones that really sell no matter what platform, and then you don't get the best version, that's disappointing. And maybe our microscope is on it too much, because I'm sure there's millions of people out there playing Valhalla on Series X or whatever that had no idea that it had any issue. You know what I mean?
I mean that's a fair point. I'm playing Valhalla on the Series X, and it looks great. It runs good, especially after the patch. Now I'm happy with my console. Don't get me wrong. That is not the case. The thing just is that the marketing just works different. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that it's a bad version. The games on the PlayStation 4 Pro didn't look bad by any means. They just looked a little better on the One X. That's fair. What it was. Yeah. And now we have the situation reversed when we all think or thought it should be different.
Yeah. And you know, going back to the whole developer conversation, time, resources, focus for the development team. You know, you saw some of that too. I mean, the One X overwhelmingly runs third-party cross-platform games better than the Pro, but there are cases where the Pro version runs better. I mean, we've seen that, right? That does happen. It's you know, there's an awful lot that goes into this conversation. It's not a simple one for sure. Dan, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna defend them a little bit, which is
defend who?
Microsoft and Sony. Okay. Like, so, you know, here's the thing. I've said it before. Ubisoft sucks at optimization. 2 of those games that are on your list are Ubisoft games. I'm a little curious of what's going to happen next week with Immortals. Yeah. They suck. They are terrible. No. I'm just saying, not the games. Ubisoft is not good at optimizing for these consoles. They do the same way last gen. It looks like it's the same way going into this gen. The developers have to do it. And I'm not, you know, I understand pandemic, fine. You know, totally get that. Not, you know, given everything, you know, making everything equal, I don't know if it would be that much of a difference, right? You know, I really don't. You know, maybe they got their development consoles later. Fine, no problem. We've always said we want to play the best version of those third-party games. Yes. Always. You know, that's what we're going for. And now I have no idea where to buy the damn game at. I think eventually, you know, it's going to run better on the X just based on paper alone. You know, it should.
It should,
you know,
definitely.
But yeah. And Microsoft, I'm kind of gotten to the point now where their marketing is just garbage. Usually, you know, I mean, they rely too much.
I thought you were defending them.
Well, I am. They rely too much on word of mouth and stuff like that. It's not the best way to do it, in my opinion, because the word of mouth comes out of the words of Twitter. So it's not an awesome choice. But I think in the long run, you know, they're going to have more time with those dev kits, you know, and they will have, you know, they'll start producing or, you know, hitting those marks at a more consistent pace. You're still going to have issues, you know, and also, you know, people, you know, don't think that the PlayStation 5 is just going to tank because, you know, they're still, it's going to be like this.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and quote Mo from last week's Game On is it's not a potato. PS5 is not a potato. Right. It's a good it's a strong console, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're going to get worse at developing for the PlayStation 5 all of a sudden. They're going to continue to get better, you know, and they're going to start learning the intricacies of how it works, just like they are with the Series X. So you know, I would say give them a little bit of a pass, you know, because, you know, of the pandemic. But at the same time, you know, you can play wherever the hell you want, you know, and I just wish I knew where the best place was. That's my biggest thing, because I'll buy it on the PlayStation.
It's like you have to wait for weeks to know which is going to be the best.
Foundry does a damn thing to say, okay, just to make sure there's no issues with it, or at least, you know, out the gate, and see some reviews just on the technical side of it, you know, so I don't see the screen tearing, or I don't have save issues, or it's, you know, it's like Mo said, it's not a potato, man.
Yeah,
it's not a potato.
Well, and to be honest, you know, let's also keep in mind that we're talking about intricate details of how these games are running and commenting on it. What I would say is that whether you're playing on Series X, S, or PS5, the experience you're getting right now is far and above what we were getting just a few months ago on Xbox One and PS4, right? In many ways, between the speed, and the resolution, the 60 frames in Valhalla and all these other games we're talking about, you're still getting a much better experience than last gen. So I don't want us to come off as too negative. Do you know what I mean? We're just focusing on one issue here, but
right. Yeah. I mean, and this is, I enjoyed my time with Valhalla. I thought it looked amazing. And once I got the Series X and popped it on there and saw the difference, I was like, holy shit.
It's night and day.
Crazy.
Yeah, night and day.
So I mean, and there was a screen tearing, sure. You know what? It mostly happened in certain places in the game, and it was very predictable after a while. But who gives a crap? I mean, playing the game, as long as it's not broken, or completely destroyed, then you're fine. You're fine. You're gonna be play as long as like it's not Call of Duty where it's completely shutting down. But both of these consoles are having issues right now. It is what it is. It's a launch. What are you gonna do about it? Knock on wood, I haven't had any issues so far with either of mine, except for a couple minor game crashes. Not a big deal. So, we like you said, we get under that Twitter microscope, and everything is amplified. So much, and then there's 18,000 PS5s in the last hour that just blew up. Oh no,
that killed their pets.
Right? Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, I mean, and then that's this whole narrative that Mo kind of brought up. Somebody said something about when Valhalla, got its update, that all of a sudden the Xbox version ran better than the PlayStation version, and people were putting on their tinfoil hats and saying it was because they had a marketing deal. You know what? Shut up. If you even thought that for a second, you're a moron. All right. Unless Deathloop comes out and your PS5 transforms into a small killing machine and stabs you in the face.
We're not in the grinding gears section.
Right.
Again.
I'm just telling you. Then you have to worry about it. At that point, you maybe go, all right, something's going on because my PS5 is stabbing me in the face. Short of that, don't worry about it. Play your games, enjoy them, have fun. That's all I've been doing, man.
Yeah.
That's all I've been doing. I got 100 hours into Valhalla. You know what? It doesn't matter.
That's because it's an amazing game, isn't it?
It's a 7, but it's still good. It's still fun.
We've got a new hashtag, by the way.
Yeah.
Hashtag, it's not a potato.
Yep.
We need to get it trending.
We should.
We can do it. Love seeing a bunch of new people in chat, man. What's up, everyone? Thanks for coming by. Please, I never do this. You guys know this. Maybe once a month I do this. Please hit that like button, guys, if you're enjoying the chat. Really helps, of course. So always appreciated. All right. So, Dan, I think you're probably, I know you're not out of juice, but I don't know if you saved anything. But before we get into what we're currently playing on our consoles, let's get into any of our grinding gears that we just want to touch on real quick. Anything that you guys want to
sufficiently
say it again?
Today. I'm good.
You're good.
I've grinded quite a bit.
All right. Well, we got to get, see if Asa or Archimedes got anything for us. So, guys, anything that you want to kind of shout out, been bugging you this week or any week for that matter, in regards to, gaming community, industry, companies. I know Archimedes already pissed about Media Mart, but we touched on that. We touched on that already. Anything you guys want to shout out?
Oh, nothing that gets close to the Media Mart story. Nothing like that. Cool. I will say, in terms of content creation,
sure,
really pisses me off when people download trailers, apply their watermark, and re-upload them to their channel.
Oh God,
that upsets me greatly.
What are they doing?
Yeah, because I know you guys have put a lot of effort into the stuff you've developed. Did that happen to you recently?
They're not downloading our stuff. It's more so like every week I put together a little summary of news, and there's a lot of like trailers and things that play. But I put a fair amount of effort into it, a good number of hours to put it together. But every now and again I go to do it, and I'm editing the video, and you just see like IGN watermarked in the bottom corner, MK Ice and Fire. I can name names; it's fine.
Yeah.
They're literally. They download someone's trailer and they apply a watermark with no contribution to it at all, no creative input, and just re-upload it to the channel.
That's messed up.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
It's terrible.
I know some artists that like to take other people's art and just slap it on stuff and then go, hey, look at this, check out this cool design I made, and then it's like, wait a minute, you didn't actually make that design, you just took it and put it on something else. You know what? That guy can go kiss my ass too. There's my grinding my gears. Yeah, but
no, it's true. There's a lot of that, and it's sad, right? Because the way the And it happens in writing, happens in what you're talking about, Asa, happens in art, like Dan's talking about. And the problem is that as we kind of touched on, is the people who do this kind of stuff, they have that bigger audience already. So it gets overlooked in the fact that they're actually doing it. Do you know what I mean? Because by the time it gets spread by them, it spreads so much farther than the smaller outlet that they think it's just, no one really sees what's happening. And it's maddening. I'm with you 100%. I don't think anyone, I did have someone, one of my writings like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, one of the articles I did see an article that someone pointed me to where they took 2 paragraphs out of it and literally published it verbatim as if it was theirs. And I was
like, quote you or anything? They just no link, no quote, no anything, just mine. And I'm like, the funny thing is everyone has a unique writing style. So my 2 paragraphs didn't fit worth a damn into the rest of the article. I'm like, you can tell this isn't the same person, but whatever. It doesn't. Bastards.
Yeah. Anyway, I get it. Archimedes, what do you got for us?
Oh, I got my story across with MediaMarkt, so
fair enough.
Grinding your gears needs to happen organically, like it has throughout the show, and then if we have anything left over, we come to this. So we've done a great job today, boys. I'm telling you, it's been awesome.
Yeah, fair enough. No, it's been a great chat. Let me get to some of these super chats. We got Pampa in the house. I want some potatoes now. Damn it, some French fries sound good. Great show as always. Not a 7. # not a potato. Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Oh wait, and he just followed up with one I'll get to in a second. Let's also be happy that Phasma hasn't banned Asa. That's also fair, because if she banned him from the show, that would be problematic right now.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing.
Thank you as always, Bob. I appreciate it. Hassan's in the house. 7 Anthem 2.0. It's coming to Game Pass before Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Dan, you buy it yet?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Maybe I did.
I know you did.
I played it.
Thank you, Hassan, as always, man. Appreciate it. And I've got one more from Phasma herself. Fear of missing out is real. Love you guys. Great show. Keep up the great work. Thank you, as always, Phasma. Really appreciate that. So
that's what FOMO is? I had no idea.
Fear of missing out. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Cool. So this is not showing my age or anything. I don't know. Everybody puts these damn, things on there. I'm like, what the hell is that? I have to look them up.
It's what the kids are talking about these days.
90% of the time I have to go, hey, what's this? Okay. That makes sense now.
All right, so let's get into we're talking about experiences. Let's get back to our positive experiences on these new consoles and games. So what we've been playing. So Archimedes, let's start with you, man. I know you've been hitting Valhalla hard. I see your screenshots. I think that game is, man, in terms of screenshots, I feel like I want to stop every 30 seconds to take one because the game is so beautiful.
I spent probably 50% of my time in photo mode.
So I know you're playing that. You want to touch on Valhalla or anything else you've been up to?
Yeah, well, Valhalla is amazing. I really like. I know a lot of people do not like the new direction of the Assassin's Creed games, but for me, this action RPG approach is amazing. I love it. I really enjoy the combat in Valhalla. It's brutal. It's hard. It's satisfying. And now I think I'm like 50 hours or something in the game. The story is really picking up. There are no spoilers here, but something happened that really changed the direction where it's going. I really like it. I'm having a blast with that. I played a lot of Tetris Effect as well.
Yes, fantastic.
I wasn't thinking that I will ever go back to Tetris and play that so extensively, but that's definitely something. I just wanted to do some screen captures for one of my videos and went back to Arkham City because a lot of people told me the auto HDR on the Xbox Series X is really good on that, and I can confirm it's a showcase for auto HDR. Wow. And it has me hooked again. I played a little bit of that. But that's basically it. I downloaded Hades on my Switch, but I haven't started yet. But I think I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's one of our. I hear from a bunch of the people writing for our site that game is their game of the year. If it's not, it's one of the top games of the year. People love that game. So
yeah, I haven't heard anything but good about it. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to check it out.
nice. Did you play on Tetris Effect? Have you played the 3-player co-op mode?
No, I only played with 2 people in co-op. So
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a 3-player where the 3 of you go against the computer, and then it merges all 3 of your boards together, and you have to work
Okay.
together. It's very, very cool.
I have to play that.
Yeah. Check it out. That's awesome, though. Hey, so what you been up to, man?
Not enough gaming.
Too much
I
work.
spot this. I mean, a lot of work. And to be fair, my work's good. I'm working on videos about games, so I love doing that anyway. I played about an hour of Watch Dogs Legion. I played that on the PC just before the consoles came out, but the voice acting drained my soul, and I couldn't carry on. Voice acting was horrible. I've been to London. This is no. So I stopped that. I played a chunk of Attack on Titan, which is back compat. I'm playing it on the Series X. If you like the anime, it's a pretty bloody good game.
Okay.
A little bit repetitive, but it really captures it well and doesn't follow the usual kind of anime template that games do. So I highly recommend that. It's on sale at the moment. What else? There was another one. I don't know. Some other
Avengers,
things.
You mentioned.
I did, yeah. So I wouldn't have been playing that. I've been putting together and experimenting with some video capture and things.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I've been forcing myself through it to get some good shots for a video that's hopefully going to be ready in the next couple of days. But I'm doing this. It's kind of an experiment in the quality of the video. So 4K HDR, like super high quality, takes bloody ages to render, and I just want to see what it looks like through YouTube. So I've been playing a bit of that. And yeah, I played Astro's Playroom. Astro's Playroom was nice. I don't like platformers in general. I don't even play the Mario games. Astro's Playroom was enjoyable for what it was, mostly for the it makes you feel for PlayStation. Like it's just makes you
nostalgia trip.
Yeah, and it's not even my nostalgia. Like some of it's just like, oh, I never even had that, but I love the attention to detail that they've gone in this game. You can just like sense the passion and empathize with it. Really, like it's a nice game in that sense. That's all I've done with the PlayStation, though. Just not played anything else.
Wow.
Avengers and Playroom.
Man. Yeah, Astros is really cool. I think we talked with Joseph, the host of the Trophy Room, a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about that game, and it's just, especially from a pack-in game perspective, it's incredible. It's just such a cool experience, and when you add on top of that the highlight of the DualSense and all the things it can do, it's awesome. So definitely recommend it. Now, you mentioned not playing platformers. For anyone listening, I'm going to keep plugging this game, but play Sackboy. It's amazing. It's an excellent platform. If you like platformers, it's an excellent title. Definitely check that out. So where's and then Wise Old Gamer, what's up, man? He said, I've been playing with my Sackboy. When I get done, I turn on the PS5 finally and start playing Demon Souls. And Demon Souls is incredible too. I'll talk a little more about that. But Dan, you been up to anything good?
Yeah, so I've been playing. I'm trying to I have everything done in Valhalla as far as main story goes, except for one mission, which really isn't technically part of the main story. It's just one of the main stories that show up in one of your main quests, basically. It's just doing like 10 of those contracts.
Yeah.
Then you turn them in.
Yeah.
Same thing as they had in Odyssey. And I can't turn them in because Rita will not get off his ass.
The same thing happens to me.
I don't know what's going on.
I can't talk to him. Yeah.
Nope. Like, and here's the problem. Like, there was a point where I was able to talk to him because of something I did, in the story that required it. This also requires it because he's got the little thing on the top of his head. I can't talk to him, so I like dodge into him and try to tackle him, and he gets up, and then I do it over and over.
Shoot him,
but flops all over the place. Yeah, I've tried shooting him. I've tried everything. He will not do anything, so I'm stuck with that. Not a huge deal, but I also can't buy anything like with the opals that
me neither.
So it kind of sucks. After that's done, I think I'll have everything done. I might go back and touch, some of the side stuff because that was one of the most interesting parts with the mysteries, or the side quests. They were frustrating because there was no, direction. Like it was very vague sometimes, but they're also hilarious at times.
There are some really good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. And you know, if you kind of just try to do it as organically as possible and just kind of, you know, let's say there's a side quest there and you're doing the main, just grab it, knock it out. That'll help you out a little bit, give you a little bit more XP, maybe raise your level a little bit. I'll go back to it for that for sure. And then when the DLC comes out, I'll definitely jump back in and give it a shot. Then I've been playing Sackboy a little bit.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I'm about the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure the game this time.
Okay. How far are you?
Not very far, like 3 levels in.
Oh no, yeah. Trust me. If you think it's cool now, just give it a little bit more till you get to some of the fully like music integrated levels. They're freaking amazing.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, that's gonna be my next one. I think I kind of pushed through, and then the Pathless, which I did the review for, is my game of the year. Woo. And it's pushed Ghost of Tsushima to the side, which I didn't think was gonna happen.
Shouldn't have been there anyway, but go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you know, that's tough coming from somebody that actually hasn't played the game. But you know, it's so good, and I hate these kind of games. I usually do. I mean, I don't like these, slightly gimmicky, kind of platformy games. It's not really a platformer. It's kind of open world, running around doing stuff. It's so good, and it's not even like the story is amazing or that the combat is amazing, or it's like everything it does great. It's like, oh, this is great. Oh, this is great too. Story was great, but it wasn't, nothing comes out and separates itself. It's just a complete package. And I haven't had that much fun with a game. I really thought as soon as I started playing, I was like, man, I'm going to put this game down in like 20 minutes. And then I just kept going and going and going. I was like, man, this game is awesome. It's so good. It's my review will go up here in either Monday-ish or so. So it's definitely worth the time, and definitely worth, if you get it digitally, $40. I mean, physically it's $50 US. So I'm not sure why that's a thing, but
it's 40, right, on PSN.
Yeah, PSN it's $40.
40, yeah, and the physical is going to be 50. I think they said. That's
a weird play there. Yeah, but I think it's worth it. And there's I'm trying to platinum it. It is not easy. To platinum it. It's not because there's no difficulty choices. You've got your basic, one difficulty throughout the game. It's just some of the stuff they want you to do is going to be tough. So, but I'm going to try and give it a shot because I'm really, just running around. You basically run around, with your bow and arrow. You hit these medallions. It gives you that boost, and you're just flying everywhere. Then you've got an eagle. You jump. It's harder to really put into words how good it is. Just the traversal part of it, and then the score. It's by the same guy who did Journey, Austin Wittery. I don't usually pay attention to like music. If it very rare times where it's like, oh man, that's really good implementation, like in Red Dead 2 when with that one song when he was on the horse.
On something.
On something. It was, but it was perfectly implemented. This picture that, but throughout the entire game, and every situation changes. Where it's just if it's fast paced, if it's you kind of leisurely run around, or if you're a little bit slower section, it just really, if it jumps out at me for somebody that doesn't usually, fan on that audio kind of stuff. I mean, it's something to be heard for sure. He did a great job. So really enjoyed it. Now I just gotta wait to see if Cyberpunk comes out and
it's coming.
Topples it. We'll see
2
what
weeks.
Happens. Yeah.
If Cyberpunk is going to be in our hands in 2 weeks, it's hard to believe.
2 weeks. Hey Joseph, Pathless is not an easy plat.
Yeah, I saw Joseph ask if it's an easy platinum.
It's well, if you are not me, it might be a little bit easier, but there are some things that are pretty tough.
Joseph already finished Demon Souls, so I think he's good.
He should be fine.
He's a little more competent,
probably. Yeah, well, everybody's a little more competent when it comes to playing games compared to me. That's crazy.
That's awesome, though. I'm the review will be up. We actually have it ready to go, but because of Thanksgiving and everything, there the traffic and sites, at least here for US-based sites, is pretty low right now. So we'll hit it up probably Monday, like Dan said, and you can check that out.
Baby.
But sounds great. I want to pick. If Cyberpunk wasn't coming in 2 weeks, I'd pick it up. But I know I'm just not gonna have time for anything else. So
anything else?
Anything.
Family, eating, going to the bathroom.
Well, Archimedes and I were just joking because I know for me, and he was saying something similar, is that as of December 13th or 14th, I'm done for the year into the first week of January. So it's my biggest stretch of time off of work every year. I love the timing of the Cyberpunk release. It's perfect.
Yeah, I imagine it would have come out when it was originally planned, and we had to play Valhalla and Cyberpunk and everything in parallel.
No chance.
No chance. No. Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I didn't mind. So, so any of you guys play Destiny?
I tried it once.
15 minutes or so, because I had that problem on the Xbox One X that I couldn't connect to the servers anymore for 3 or 4 months now. They just wouldn't let me connect to the servers anymore.
Wow.
So I wasn't able to play it. I just wanted to see if it works with the Series X, and miracle, here it works now. I can connect again, and but I'm waiting for that patch on December 8th.
Yeah. So I was just going to touch on it because I played a ton of Destiny 1. In fact, I was in the beta for it. I played a beta, which was small, for 35 hours or something with my stepson at the time, who was younger because Destiny's been around a while now. But Destiny 2, I played a little bit of the campaign and just dropped it. It just didn't do anything for me. So I was waiting for the update on December 8th as well. But my stepson, who is a Destiny fanatic, now lives with us, and he's kind of got me into playing it again, and he's kind of helped me. And so literally I've been playing it nonstop, along with some other things like Demon Souls. But Destiny 2, I would tell anyone, and I actually may write an article on this because I find it really interesting what they've done with that game. For someone like me who played it in 2014, 2015, and then left it, and now is coming back 5 years later, it's a very, very interesting experience. And what I find most interesting about it is how they've basically, it's not Destiny 2 anymore. It's kind of just Destiny. They've merged content from Destiny 1 and 2 into a singular game. And it's very, very interesting. So if you enjoyed the gunplay and the mechanics of the game, which I think are stellar, that's, it's Bungie. They've always been great at that stuff. And some of the world design, maybe jump back in, give it a shot. And as you know, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, Destiny 2 and all of the expansions, including Beyond Light, which just came out, are all included. I mean, it's all right there to play for free. So we're not, we always say for free, but you know what I mean? So I've actually been enjoying that more than I thought I would. I still have my same complaints about the loot system and the way some things are. But overall, it's been a lot of fun. What else I was going to touch on? We've got Immortals next week, which releases. It's kind of the only other big release, I think, in December, right next to Cyberpunk. I'm really, I don't know about you guys. I'm still really confused at why they're releasing that next week.
Yeah, me too. I would have saved that for January or February or something like that. They just have two of the biggest games with Watch Dogs and Valhalla. And I mean, Cyberpunk is going to mean game over for everything else. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, save it for 1 or 2 months. In January, you have the spotlight.
Yeah, and it's a new IP, which already makes it a little tougher to launch because you're not established. You're launching post the big, Black Friday holiday here in the US, which, the reason consoles and games like Call of Duty release before those dates is just because of the sales, right? So you're getting people after that. And like you said, you're now a week before Cyberpunk 2. It just seems weird to me, especially when as you said, you have Valhalla and Legion already out there. And Far Cry 6, which was supposed to be February, is now delayed. So that feels like it would give you that gap in the February timeframe to release Immortals. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how this turns out. From what I've played of it, I wasn't a huge fan. I think it's a little more I don't know. I got to be careful with my choice of words here. I got to channel Phil Spencer. Get some no, it's I was going to say cartoony / cutesy, which is not a good word to use, but it's got a kind of a goofy sense of humor attached to it. And it's definitely got an art style, as you've probably seen from the gameplay, but it's got an art style that's a little different. So the reason I bring it up is because if you're coming off of Legion, you're coming off of Assassin's Creed games, especially Valhalla, this is going to feel a lot different. And to me, it didn't feel the same as Odyssey. It feels, I don't know, it just feels different. So I hope it turns out well. I'm interested to see what they do with it. Phasma is going to be reviewing that for us on the site. So she's going to be all over that one. And, we'll see how it turns out, but it'll be interesting.
7.
Oh, man. I see some guys in chat talking about Call of the Sea as well, which is a smaller release, but it is one that they are promoting. It is coming. Remind me, guys, Game Pass day one on that? Is that launching on Game Pass?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
Okay. But yeah, that should be cool too. And I think that's optimized for series consoles out of the gate too. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, we'll go ahead and let me just touch on a couple things upcoming here. So right now on the site, you've got the Call of Duty campaign review, which we touched on earlier. Dan's Spider-Man Miles Morales review is up as well. And you won't find a guy that I'm aware of who's a bigger Spider-Man fan who has played Spider-Man more than Dan. So I would take his opinion to heart. And Dan, you gave that 8.5. Excellent game, but just a little too familiar.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it was it was still awesome, and I loved it, and I loved everything about it. But I didn't run into any of the issues where you become like a street lamp or a brick. Thankfully, you fall into a puddle. Which I still think is Insomniac trolling people from last gen. But great story in a very, very small package. And they just did it incredibly well. Loved it. Loved every second.
Sweet. Wise Old Gamer, I see him in chat asking about if it's scratches the Breath of the Wild itch. So I'll probably, as I've mentioned before, but I'll probably make you unhappy here. But I am not a Breath of the Wild fan. I did finish that game, played it quite a bit, but I'm not a big fan of Breath of the Wild. So
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it's in all seriousness for this generation. If we talk the last 7 years, I feel it's one of the most overrated titles out of the whole generation. Yeah, so now I've just killed the rest of the audience. But
that's it.
We literally have destroyed our entire audience in one show. It's fantastic.
Yeah. But yeah, it does have a more lighthearted play style, if that's what you're asking, as say compared to Assassin's Creed or Legion or any of their other titles. So you may enjoy it. What was I going to say? Immortals discussion. Yeah, that'll be coming next week. We'll touch more on Immortals because next week we're doing a special show. So if you do listen to the show every week or tune in live, thank you. Next week was actually going to be 3 hours later, 3 p.m. Central compared to noon Central we normally do. And that is because we're doing a 5-year Season Gaming anniversary show. And to celebrate, we're actually bringing on all of the SG contributors today. So Phasma will be on, Elu will be on, Steve, Carl, Elliot from Australia is going to be on, which is actually why we're moving the time a little bit, because it would have been 4 a.m. for him, and that's kind of rough. So anyway, it's going to be a really, really fun show next week, the biggest cast we've ever had, and it's going to be more about just having a really fun discussion about a range of topics, not necessarily just the weekly news. We will also be doing some giveaways next week as part of the show. So if you, like I said, if you listen to this and or you're watching, please join us next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern next week. So excellent. So Dan, I actually just realized we forgot to just mention the giveaways. We have picked the giveaways. We'll do it on Twitter. We'll just put it up on Twitter.
Yeah, so I think it's Control Chris and Charles Barnes are the winners of the Toasty stickers giveaway we did. Congratulations. Go check them out, guys. They just put up a bunch of Series X stickers and custom stuff. They've got a ton of PS5 stuff, PS4 stuff, Xbox stuff. I mean, you basically can customize whatever kind of skin that you want, and they're really reasonably priced. So, and they've got these little button mashers that you can put on your, you can customize those too. If you want a picture of your head on all your buttons, you can do that. Whatever you want to do. It's pretty cool stuff. But shout out to them for providing this gift package, which Charles Barnes won. So I will get in contact with him on Twitter and get him all set up, get his address. Then I'll bring you on the show next week and I'll give everybody his address. No, just joking. I'm not going to do that. But really check them out. Flamingtoast.com. They are amazing, great people to work with. And, we're very, very fortunate for them to, donate that to us. So
sweet.
Awesome.
Perfect. All right, guys. So I know Asa, we kind of timed this, I think, well enough to give you a little break here before you jump over to your own show here. So quick shout out for Asa and the guys at GameOn. Their show starts in about 25 minutes or so. So if you don't already tune into them on Saturdays, it's a great show to check out as well. And they've got some great guests today, including Luke, who's in the chat and one of our favorites as well. So Asa, why don't you, other than that, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and GameOn and the guys?
Well, first and foremost, GameOnDaily.com. That's the website. So it's news aggregation. We've got content from creators all over the web, all over the world. So you can come and check that and find some good ones. You can find me personally on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, and Asa_GameOnDaily, just about everywhere. When I do get time to stream, you can find me there as well. Doesn't happen too often at the moment, but it will again soon. And thank you for inviting me on the show. It was a nice chilled out one.
Of course. No, it was a great conversation today, guys. I actually, in all sincerity, had a lot of fun talking through the topics today with you guys. So thanks for coming on. It won't be the last time for sure. Archimedes, you're a regular already. I know, like I always say, our audience already knows who you are and where to find you, but we do get a lot of listeners as well on the audio side. So let them know where they can check you out. Yeah,
first of all, thanks again for having me and congratulations on the 5 years. That's awesome.
Thank you.
It's awesome. Yeah, you can find me basically everywhere: Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, and here, of course, here on YouTube at Boxenberger. That's basically it.
Simple enough. Simple enough. So thanks as always, guys. This has been episode 133. We'll see you next week for the 5-year show. Please join us, like I said, and just final reminder, it's 3 hours later, so 3 p.m. Central next week. Until then, peace. Oh, Dan, I forgot the outro.
Of course you did. It's like